computer. Okay, so
There you go.
so what does it mean? What is your goal to learn to share your story? There's a purpose for you to learn to share your personal story. And it may be just to help people understand they can get through the challenges that they're in right now, whether it be personal life or business. It can also be to share your personal story, to connect with an audience, to be memorable, to build the know, the like, the trust for your personal business, referrals, things like that. So those are like the two core, right? I just want to help people, and I know if I share these things that I've been through and the wisdom I've gained, I think it can help them. Maybe I'll become a coach, maybe I'll help coaching them, or I want to learn to be present on a Zoom call and do my own Zoom calls. I want to be invited to go speak at real estate meetings. I want to get in front of an audience whenever I can and share who I am at a core so that people will trust me, so people will know me, will people do want to work with me. So what,
Mm,
right, just write down in your own words what it means for you. Like grab a water real quick while you guys do that.
okay. Half.
Hmm?
I was just reading what I had. Oh, wait, let me find my Zoom. I have too many things open. I had put that I want to teach people how they can become financially secure for their family and achieve financial independence. And I said instead of living to paycheck, I want to put that in a better sentence. I have it somewhere in a better sentence, and I forget like what I have there. Empowering future generations with lasting financial knowledge worldwide. So I looked up um, how many people in the U.S. Live paycheck to paycheck, and it says according to a survey that was self-reported, it was half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
So that's a
That,
lot of people.
that is a lot of people, and I'm surprised it's not a higher percentage. I
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So
So,
what you want to teach? Yeah. So you want to teach I like the way you put it the first time, actually. You want to teach that, and then but you also want to make money doing it, right?
well, yeah. Well, that's what I
Yeah.
was telling Brianna earlier because we were talking about sell, 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 sell. How
Mhm.
much did you make from this? How much did you make from that? And I go, I didn't even look
Mhm.
because my goal was I protected that family. They now have enough insurance to cover themselves if anything should happen to one of them. They have a living trust. How much did I make from it? I mean, I don't know. I honestly didn't even look. So I'm kind of like, I just help families. I really do. And do I get paid from it? Yeah. I mean, from real estate, I can tell you more easily what I made from it. For
Mhm.
financial services, it's not significant enough to be
Mhm.
like, oh wow, look at that. It's more, wow, I really helped a family that did something that I didn't know how to do when I was 25 years old or when I was 30 years old. I wish I knew this.
That's cool. And then at some point, because you're just getting started in that, at some point you'll be able to
Yes.
say, look, I just helped all of these people and I made all this money.
Yes,
Right?
right? So that's the
Yeah.
thing right now. I'm not looking at the money aspect. I'm just looking to learn and help more people and teach people what I've learned,
Very good.
right? And I tell them, I go, look, I'm not like loaded by any means. However,
Mhm.
I have emergency savings. How much do you have in your emergency savings?
Yeah.
Right? If something should happen, I'm good for a couple of years,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Before and even then I just have to reestablish money and start moving money around. But if I couldn't work today, knock on wood, it'll be okay. I'm not panicked. Years ago, 20 years ago, I would panic,
Yeah.
right? You don't get a paycheck coming, or they say, "Hey, Carolyn, we're gonna have to lay you off," right? Shit
Hmm.
hits the fan because you go, "Holy shit! I don't. That's it. I don't have a paycheck next Friday. What am I gonna do?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Whereas now it's like, "Oh, that's not closing till next month. Oh, it's all right."
Well, and see what you're doing right now is you're telling me a story. And
Mm.
it's a powerful story, right? And you should be using that with when you're talking to these clients.
Ah,
It's a great story, right? And that's what I mean. Like, and this is good to get on the call and kind of just start talking about these things. And I'll send you the recording because this is how you start brainstorming just with one simple question, right? What is your goal? Right. So this is how you start brainstorming, and that's a story. So what I would suggest you do, make that
what's
one
the
of your
story?
bullet points.
Let me
Write that
make that a
down
bullet point.
as one
Okay,
of your stories. Okay.
bullet point. What would I say? Like how I stopped living paycheck to paycheck?
You yes, but listen, the authenticity in
Mhm.
oh, you're coming on again, Ileana, in a different
I'm
computer?
coming in
Oh,
my computer.
okay.
I can't see you on
So
my phone.
oh, okay, got it. So the authenticity in sharing your story, and when you're sitting there, and we'll keep on the insurance topic, okay? And you're
Mhm.
talking to them, you don't have to have this fancy title and fancy words for what you're talking about. The
Mhm.
average person thinks, writes, talks in the sixth grade level, right?
Mhm.
So if we get
Okay.
too fancy, then
Yeah.
they don't even know what we're talking about. They don't get it, right? I forget who was I talking
Right.
to today. I was talking to somebody. She was very, very smart. She was highly educated, and she was talking about her program, and it had to do something in the medical industry. And the stuff she was talking about, I didn't even know what she was talking about. And I was just like,
Mm.
what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? And then like she tried to tell me, explain to me what it means. And I said, just give it to me like a fifth grader. Like I'm your kid. And then she
Yeah.
explained, oh, I get it. Right. So sometimes we don't need the fancy words and the right way to put it per se. I mean, the right way to put it, obviously, but the way you shared it with me, oh, I
Uh-huh.
used to, I have, I'm not loaded by any means, but I have money in the bank, a savings account, right? And that savings
Right.
account, if I don't get paid today, it's okay. I know I can live for a couple of years. That's powerful. It doesn't got to be
Mm.
some fancy thing. That's the way where they're gonna look at you and they're gonna go, oh, I get it. I can relate to that, right?
Yeah. Because
So,
you don't
so
panic. You
yeah,
don't
so
live in a state of panic.
yeah. So your stories are your personal, authentic stories. They're not like a TEDx fancy word for word type thing. They're you being you, like you were just were, and sharing your message. And this may help with everybody as if everybody watches this, understand that you don't have to overthink when you're sharing your personal story. You just share the personal story, right? And as you get more in depth into speaking and you are on stage, there are key words you want to use and seeds you want to plant, right? About setting up a call with you, about how you help people and how I can help you. You want to plant all that in there, but the core message that we're working on is your personal story. And that's really easy to do once you understand some of these concepts that we're talking about right now. So I'm glad you asked that question.
Oh,
I'm glad that you're sharing a little bit of information.
that's That's good. I forgot all about it until you said that.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was a big part of my life. And obviously, it's a big part of other people's lives too.
Yeah,
They live paycheck to paycheck. They're waiting for the next paycheck. They have no savings.
yeah,
And no one ever even taught them how to save.
yeah,
There's people that are in their 60s and 70s that still have their full savings in a regular Bank of America
yeah,
interest savings account at 0.02%.
yeah. And because of inflation, they're actually losing money. You're on mute.
But then when you say it, the way you say it, I would think it would have to be refined because then it's like, okay, so you want to help people, and is like, okay, you I wouldn't say, I don't know. How can I say this? The way you say it should be different.
Mm,
It's like, how can these people be under 60s and not have a, a savings account? How? The way it should be said for me
yeah.
is like, I have a way for you to start saving money. So when you get to this age, you have accumulated all this money that will help you get to where you want to go. Would you like to know?
She's good, isn't she?
Yeah,
I, I tell I tell Eliana all the time. She needs to do more videos.
So it's like, so if I wouldn't
It's not
know,
offensive.
if
Yeah.
if I wouldn't known you, you come from a way of oh, I want to teach, but because then what I hear is like, how can these people? And I go, okay, I'm in that age. How
Oh,
can I? How can
yeah.
I do that? And then I start belittling myself because
Got it.
you are saying, how can
How
these
how can
people?
these people? Yeah, that's you're right. Okay.
So in a way, I would say I wouldn't, that sounds like judging
Yeah,
to
yeah. No,
me,
you're right. Okay. No,
to
I'm glad
me,
you said that. Yeah, no.
to
I
me.
yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I wouldn't
Because
say,
you
how
know
can
me,
these
so you know
people?
I'm coming from a good place. So because
I
you
know
know
you're
me,
coming from a good place, and the
yeah,
only reason I know you're coming from a good place is because I'm listening to Grant Cardone, and then he just goes blah 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 blah, and then you have all that energy and all these things. So it's like, okay, I want to relate all this wisdom that I'm learning, that I'm having here, and project it onto the camera, because it's the camera, because you're gonna be making videos.
right. Right. No, you're right. Okay.
You're gonna be making, when you're talking, you are just giving your energy, and it's just like me. Sometimes I mean well.
I know.
I mean well. The tomato just comes out and it just hits your head.
That's funny. When I speak, I mean well, but sometimes tomatoes fly out of my mouth.
So
I
it
like it.
happened to me. It happened to me to at somewhere. It happened to me, and I go, I meant well, but
Yeah.
everybody meant, it's like, "Oh, how can you say that?"
Yeah, other people took it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I
Well,
go,
I didn't
oh,
like I
I
didn't
meant
mean it
well.
like that. I'm trying to be like, you don't want to get to that age and not have money saved in at least bare minimum a high yield savings account. So how can I show
So
you where to move your money so you're making more money when you get older?
now, have you wonder,
Yeah. Have you ever
where would
wondered?
you be on your 60s? Have you wonder how much money would you have? Have you wonder? Because we wonder,
Yeah.
because we're here, I'm learning in the community. Okay, so I ask, okay, give me a way to make more money, give me a way to have more listings, and then to me the universe says, here, join this group. I go, okay, so now what? I have to do the work, right?
Right.
So now I'm being pushed to do the work, and I go, oh my gosh, this is you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you, as the leader that you are, because you are a great leader,
Oh,
you
thank you.
have to lead us in a way that says, can you, if I talk to you, how can you do that?
Mm, yeah.
That's not talking to me, that's judging me.
Got it. Oh, I got to stop talking to my husband like that then too.
So that's really good.
Yeah.
I love this. The two things in addition to that. One is, to me, what you were talking about, Caroline, is that conversation is addressing a younger audience, right? So knowing our
Yeah.
demographic, knowing our audience. So if you're
Mhm.
talking to a younger audience and you're talking about, I know some people who are 60 years old and they don't have any money. There's nothing wrong with that because they're the younger crowd and they are gonna, like, so you say wonder or imagine. Imagine 50 years from now, or I don't know, 20, 40
Imagine
years from
being
now.
60.
Yeah,
Imagine being
when
60.
when you're 60 and then you don't have any money. So that's a good thing for them, right? To hear that. And
Right.
sometimes it's not it's okay to kind of give people a smack, like an eye-opening, right? I mean, I go to a lot of
Tomato.
yeah, I go to a lot of events, and some of the people on stage, they're very bold and upfront. It's like, and then they say something like, and this is the truth is, do you want somebody to teach you who's gonna pussyfoot around, or do you want somebody to tell you the truth? Because here's the
Right.
truth, right? And then they just kind of smack there. So the other thing is as much as I agree with you, Elena, I'm sorry, the
Ileana, right? Ileana,
Ileana,
right?
Ileana,
Ileana.
Ileana,
Ileana.
sorry. As much whenever I read your name, I always mix it up. But as much as I agree with you, there's also a point where if you're in a room with 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, some people, no matter what, are going to get offended. No matter what you say, some people are going to get offended. And you can't put your talk together worried about that one person, right? Worried about those two people, worried about those three people.
Mhm.
What you're sharing is going to resonate with the people that are is going to resonate with. And we've talked a little bit
They're
about
ready.
with your personality, my personality. Everybody here has a different personality, right? So when you're in front of an audience, know this, and I'll talk about myself, knowing this, getting in front of that stage, as soon as I stand up, right? I may not even have said a word yet, but you've heard this. People sense your energy right off the top. As soon as your energy speaks louder than your words. So as soon as you get up there, automatically, I think it's 10% of people don't like you already, just by the way you look, by the way you dress, by your energy. And that has nothing to do with you. It has all to do with them, right? It has nothing to do with you. And then there's another 20% who are going to just love everything you talk about, and they're going to want what you have. And then there's the other, what does that leave? About 60% that just, hey, this was great, cool, thank you, right? So understanding that we don't want to be so abrupt all the time that we just offend people. I know people who speak like that, okay? But at the same time, we can't worry about that one person in the background. And I learned this many years ago, like when I wrote my first book, when I first started speaking, and I got all this advice about don't say this, don't say that, be careful with this, be careful with that. And I was always trying to like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but that'll hinder your ability to go out there and speak also. And I'll tell you this, it's in line with what we're talking about right now. It's more on this kind of the spiritual side of things. But somebody told me years ago, and I may have told you guys this story already. Somebody told me years ago not to talk about God so much because people might be offended and you might turn them off immediately. And they said the same thing in my first book I ever wrote. Like, don't talk about God so much. People may not want to read it because you talk about God so much. And I took the advice, right? And so when I was on stage, I was very cautious what I was talking about. And then when I was sharing my story, I got convicted. God actually spoke to me and he said, how can you share this story without talking about me? I'm the one who
Mm.
saved you. I'm the one who allowed you to live through what you lived through. How can you talk about your story without talking about me? And I almost cried from stage with that when this happened. And so I went and I talked to the pastor. And the pastor, he actually said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I said, what's up? Because this meeting, I was talking to 150 men at a church, a men's group. And he said, I want to talk to you. And I said, what's going on? And he said, I noticed you got really nervous when you were on stage. And I said, yeah, I always do. I said, I don't care how many times I do it. I get nervous whenever I'm on stage. He's all, no, this is different. He's all, you got nervous while you were flowing, and then you'd get nervous, and then you were flowing, then you'd get nervous. And I said, okay, what does that mean? I don't get it. What does that mean? And he said, when you're sharing your message and you're just serving, you're giving, he says, man, people are impacted and they love it, and their eyes are on you. He said, so you're giving. He says, but when you start to take from the audience, you look like you're nervous. Your energy shifts when you're taking from the audience.
Mm.
And I go, okay, well, what does that mean, taking from the audience? I go, how am I taking from the audience? And he said, when you're wondering what they're thinking about you, when you're wondering if you're saying the right thing, you're taking from them. You're curious about what they're doing. So you're taking from the audience. He said, so just share your story. And he went like this, and I do it all the time. He says, take what God gave you and give it to them. Pass it on. Take the wisdom God gave you and pass it on. He said, don't worry about people being offended because it's up to God to touch them. If it's their time, they'll get the message and they'll move forward. If it's not their time, leave it up to God because
Mm.
you may not have got them that day, but you definitely planted a seed. Somebody else may get them another day where God touches them and has them move forward.
Mm.
So, as much as I didn't want to offend anybody, I had to be me. I had to be me, share who I am, share what I have to offer, and then just kind of refine from there. And what you're talking about, Liana, is refining, and it's good, it's valid, but we don't want to worry. about what we're saying. We want to be ourselves and grow and learn from there.
There you go. So, Ileana, don't worry so much about what you say, right? Some people will like it, some people will be offended, and so what?
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
Be yourself, because we all want you to be yourself. We all want to, we're more comfortable when we're ourselves, even though we're going to grow and change and do those kinds of things, but you still have to be yourself.
Yes.
Because I love your videos, Ileana. I'm telling you, you should have done a talk show. I'm telling you, if we did a round table, we could do like a talk show. We could be like The View.
Yeah. No,
Because she's very, when she speaks, I want to hear what she's saying. For some reason, the way she talks, I'm like, oh, what's she talking about?
Wow. That's
So
cool.
yeah, Ileana,
You have
it
a
really
number one fan.
Yeah.
I question everything I say
Mm.
on the videos. It's like,
Yeah, see? You overthink for yourself. Don't
yeah.
worry. Yeah. Some people will love it. Maybe some people don't like it. So, but all
Exactly.
you need is enough people to love it,
Yeah.
right? There's always gonna, and you know what, Ileana? It always gets me when somebody says to me something. I was at one of those meetings that Johnny told you not to go to, right? And somebody said something to me that kind of hurt my feelings. And I was like, it bothered me for a minute. And then I had to be like, you know what? Those aren't even my people. So I don't care. It's over. They're not my friends. They weren't my people. There's always going to be people that don't like my approach or don't like me for whatever reason. And that's okay. And that's what he's saying.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like every day, oh my gosh, she's just going 5 an hour. So going back to what you want to say on, because you're learning all this financing stuff.
Right.
You are the leader. You are our leader right now. And
Yeah.
you want to take, and you want us to follow you.
Yeah. Well, I want to be able, like I was telling Irina yesterday, Irina, I can't say her name. Irina? I don't know. I can't roll my R's. But I want to be able to teach other people so that they can teach other people. Because how can I reach a wide range if I don't teach other people to teach other people?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And that's where you want to refine your talk down to a certain, like, depending on what you're teaching. If you're going to actually train train the trainer, training people who are going to go out there and do exactly what you do, then you really have to narrow things down and be very precise and clear per topic. Here's an example of this. Do you have one, right? The example you just gave me that we were talking about in regards to you now have a savings account. A lot of people don't, right?
Mhm.
You can give that example if you're training your people who have come on board with you, and then say, do you have an example of something that you can share like that? And then, like you just did, they'll start to think about it and they'll start to talk, and they may say something that they don't even realize they said, and you're going to go, that's a great story that you can share. Right. And just like you said, you're like, oh, I didn't even think about it. But now that we're talking about it. So that's the key in getting even on these Zoom calls and start to bullet pointing things. Right. What I do with people who buy my program, that actually get on stage, and I help them put their coaching programs together and all of that. I get on Zoom calls like this with them one-on-one, and I have them tell me their story from birth, right? And as they're doing that, they're doing exactly what just happened. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, yeah, I remember this, because they're talking and they're getting it out and they're getting it out. And I'm just kind of catching things and talking and saying, what about this? What about that? Oh, yeah, yeah. You know what? This happened too. And this happened too. And that's why I do it. And by the time we're done, we usually do 2, 3 calls, 1 hour calls of just listening to their entire life story, expanding it. Then as they're doing that, I'm taking out bullet points and I'm writing them down. And I'm writing them down. And I'm writing them down. And I go, okay, here's the 10 things you have. Let's take these 5 and do your 20-minute talk. Right. So they're just speaking and sharing information is where we go, oh yeah, I do have a talk. Oh yeah, I do have ideas. Oh yeah, I do have wisdom, right? We start getting them out there. So
Right. That's
even
funny you say that. So it means that everyone has a story and something to talk about. Everyone has a story and something to talk about.
everybody does. And my goal is to get everybody to understand that there's wisdom that you can help other people with, whether it
And
be in
everyone is
life
a
or in business.
salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is a salesperson. People that say, oh, I'm not a salesperson. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's a salesperson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Huh. Let me write that down.
Write it down. Did you write down the question, Ileana, the what is your goal in learning to share your personal story? Did you write down an answer?
I did, and I went. Okay, so I did it, and it says, "What is my goal? Learning to share my story, to connect with people, and share my wisdom, to share my enthusiasm for being healthy, which is not easy,
Mhm.
and to help people with the real estate needs, and to share my experiences."
Okay. So your goal is to share all of those things, and then the core, I guess, in there is to help people, right? What I would suggest you write, both of you guys write at the end of that is and to get paid very well for doing it.
Okay, so from here, okay, so from here, where do I go?
Okay. So that's your goal, right?
Okay.
That's why what I want you guys to have in your head is why. Why are we on this call right now, right? Why do you have why do you want to share your story? And a lot of that is what you just wrote, and then it's because you do have a story, right? Caroline, you just said like, oh wow, everybody has a story, don't they? Yes, yes, they do. And what we're doing is
The reason I sign up is because I wanted to. I'm doing videos, but doing videos with social media, and I just want to connect with people that resonate with me, so they can work for who I am.
Mhm,
I mean, it's like you said, you have to connect with people
mhm.
with through video. So that's how I did it. And I go, okay, let me see how. Because I enter things on Chat GPT and I go, no, that's not me. No, that's not me.
Yes.
And so and so I just want to make videos where it is me connecting with the audience, which is a lot of people out there.
Okay, so here's the next question.
Okay.
You got down the goal. Okay. Now, and we'll do this, we'll write this down right now too. And this is based on whether you're sharing, making a 1 or 2 minute video, or if you're talking to somebody real quickly that you've just met, or somebody, we've talked about this, how as our calling to be a coach and to help and to serve, that people do come to us randomly that we don't even know sometimes to start sharing stuff with us, right? Personal things. There's like, wow, where does that come from? It's because it's our energy and we're meant to serve. So right now, write down, and this will take a little bit of brainstorming. Um, Write down three bullet points, three short stories that you can share. I don't care if it's on video with a person, whatever it is. And I mean really short, like 1 minute. Okay. And the example is Caroline already did one without even thinking about it. The one where she talked about there are people that are 60 years old that don't have a bank account. Right. And, now I'm in a place where if I don't have a paycheck for a year, I'm okay. I'll move stuff around and I'll be okay. Like that's a quick, short, really impactful story where people are going to want to hear more. So it doesn't have to be that exact story, but think about three things you can bullet point real quick that you can share that people are going to go, wow, you're going to catch their attention.
Okay.
If you want to toss out an idea or so, I can kind of help you if you're having a hard time writing those down.
This one, I'm just thinking, good health can start when you personally decide to start your health journey. It's up to you to get going. And then the other one is home ownership is a choice. And it goes back to Carolyn, what Carolyn was saying. Do you want to be 60 and still be renting? Or do you want to be 60 and living from paycheck to paycheck? I have a way to show you not to do that or something like that.
Okay, so those are both great topics, right?
Okay.
Now what you need is the story behind it.
And I did the same thing, Ileana. I wrote down topics. I did the same thing, but we need the story to tell behind that topic. So
Right.
now I wrote the topics. Now I need the story. Okay, let me think.
You have it. All you have to do is go, why do I like that topic? Because right? You can look at yourself because I experienced this or I experienced that. That the story is just behind the reason that topic came to mind.
You're right. I just remembered why that topic came to mind. Okay. Okay, so look at.
Okay.
Oh, don't go off. I hit my off button. Hold on. I love this. Go back on. Okay, here we go. So I had wrote down topics, and now I realize I was writing topics, not the story that made me think of that topic. So 3 of my topics that always resonate with people when I tell them, because I've told these stories, I just forgot.
Okay.
I remember when the funds in my account were insufficient and I was still charged $35 when I was already negative $123.
Yeah. Yeah.
I called the bank. I go, are you crazy? I already am under zero. How can you charge me another $35 if I already don't have 123?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That was one. The other one was, I remember when my rent was going up and my credit score was 589. And I thought to myself, how did I get here and how am I going to get myself out of this? And let me teach you what I did, how I got myself out of that mess to be able to buy myself a house. And the third one is, I remember when I was younger and I was in the corporate field working, 8 to 5 job. And a sales manager said to me, Carolyn, and she yelled this across the whole floor of the office, Carolyn, if you want to break all the rules, go start your own business. And that's what she said to me. And wow, look at that. Thank you. Good idea. So, that's cool. I got to save those. I have a bunch of topics then.
Yeah.
I have a
Look,
bunch of
look,
stories.
that's really good.
I like the one with the $120. That, see, that's something. I like that one.
Right? Are they crazy? I'm already negative. So you're telling me I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, I'm a negative $123 in the bank, and now you're charging me $35 on top of what I'm already below.
People,
I'm trying to buy
yeah,
food.
people will resonate. People will resonate with that. Because I like
Yes.
as soon as you told that story, I thought of a time that happened to me, right? And what
Yeah.
happened to me is my internet payment was late, right? And I think they charged me 10 or $15 or something like that. And I called and I paid it. And then I said, hey, can you take off the late payment? And they did one time, right? And the reason I wasn't able to pay it is at the time I was like I was waiting for money too, right? I didn't have the
Yeah.
money. And then I think the next month the same thing happened. And I said, I paid it. And I said, can you take off the late fee? And they said, no, we already did, we do that one time. I said, you've seen that I've been late a few times. Right? And this is a story, like what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, you've seen I've been late a few times. That means I'm having challenges with money right now, but your fix to it is to charge me more. It doesn't make any sense. I don't
Yeah.
have the money. I'm doing my best to pay it. So you're charging me more. Like, how does that work? And usually the person behind the phone, they don't know. They're just looking at their computer. They don't know. They don't care, right? But
Yeah.
there's logic behind that. So that little story, like you had, that little story reminded me of my story, reminded Ileana probably of a story. That's why she's like, I like that story because we've all had it. And when you're sharing stories that we've all had, it's when you're making the connection with the audience. It works
All
perfect.
right. Yeah. That's, it is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and tell me the last one that you just said, because I actually like that one. So that one resonated with me too.
I remember when I was working in corporate,
Okay, yeah.
my sales manager, she yelled at me from across the room in front of everybody from her little cubicle in the back. We had all short little cubicles and then the big row of 8-foot cubicles in the back.
Yeah.
And she yelled at me from the back of the room, Carolyn, if you want to break all the rules, you could go start your own business. And it was because I was helping the teammates. I was outside sales and I was helping inside sales because I had a lot of work. I didn't need any more. I didn't mind splitting the deal to lower my workload. So I would send it to the inside sales desk to split it with me. But when I did that, I was doing so much quantity that I got a bonus and I got all of them a bonus too.
Oh, wow.
But for the company,
Yeah. Yeah.
that wasn't very nice. So she said, you can't do that.
They should be
I
nice.
said, where does it say I can't do? I yelled and I said, where does it say I can't do that? No one told me I can't share my deals with people inside the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's where to take that story, but only if it's true. Because when she told you that, it did one of two things. You may have thought, somebody may have stopped and said, you know what? I am going to go start my own business. And then they created a wonderful business. Or it planted a seed of, maybe I should start my own business. And then the next thing you know, a year later, 2 years later, whatever it was, it stuck with you. And you just thought, you know what? No one's ever going to talk to me like that. And I am going to start my own business because I have money and they're not happy with it. Right.
Yeah, I did the next day. So the next day, I went to a bunch of Century 21 offices because I had already had my real estate license.
Mhm.
So the next day, I went to a bunch of real estate offices, and that's how I ended up at the office I was at when I left that office, which brings me to the story of how I made it in real estate when I only gave myself 12 weeks to do it or not.
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
weeks. I had 12 weeks. I had 12 weeks of disability payments
Mhm.
because I went
Oh
on
my
stress
gosh.
leave. Yeah. So I went on stress leave from my office and I said, okay, I have 12 weeks to either close escrow and make money, or I'm going to have to go back with my tail between my legs and say, can I have my job?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I had 12 weeks or find another job, but I had 12 weeks because that's all the money I had left. I had enough savings for about 3 months, 3 to 4 months with the disability payment, which, is not that much. So I was able to live for those 3 or 4 months. I closed escrow on my first deal on the 12th week. The last week I was getting my disability check was the last week that I was closing escrow and getting a check for closing that deal. And I lived on that money. Back then you could live on a check for a long time. So I was able to live on that check for a good 2 months. I got another one. It wasn't that long after. And that's how I closed. I think I closed about 11 within 5 months.
Wow, 11 houses?
Yeah, 11 houses in
Wow.
5 months. Yeah, because
So,
I started in May, and
mhm.
my first year when I closed the first one was already July or so, or whatever it was, whatever 12 weeks was, and I closed 11.
So you just told us four short stories. Okay?
Oh yeah,
One,
I did.
no, this is good. No, this is good. This is what I want to share with you. You just shared with us four short stories. One of them is irrelevant. Okay. And I want to make this point so that when you're molding your story, there are some things that don't need to be said, right?
Okay.
So the beginning is your boss or whoever it was yelled at you, and I like the way you explained it. In a room, there's all these desks. The way you explained it, like it makes people, gives them a vision of what happened. And I can picture like a lady way over there, and you're in your desk, and she's yelling at you across the way, right? So the way you
Yep.
put that together is a great part of the story. And she said, if you're going to not follow the rules and go start your own business.
Mhm.
So then after that, you told me about why she said that, right? Because the deals you were doing with everybody else, that part doesn't really need to be
Doesn't
said.
matter.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you go from her telling you that, the next portion is the third part where you said, yeah, I did. I left that place. I said, I am going to start my own business. And I went and found a new agency. Guess
Yeah.
what? I had no money and I had to live off of the story you said so I had to, and here's a wisdom point. I had to sell houses because I knew I only had one check left and I had to make money. So it was a must, right? There's a wisdom point. It was a
Yeah.
must. And then that's where you go into, what does a must mean? How come people wait till it's a must? Can you be successful like that? I sold 11 houses in 5 months. People are gonna be like, what? That's a lot, right? People are gonna be like, what? I made it a must. But guess what? I made it a must, so I did it. But you can make things in your life a must before you have to do it. What
Mm.
if, he's going to Ileana's talks, what if, imagine if you were in the state of mind where right now, even though you have plenty of money, where you're not in shambles, where you're not about to lose your job, where you're not just quit your job, what if you could put your mindset into a must on a daily basis and close 11 houses every 3 months, every 5 months, all of the time with a lot of money
Mhm.
flowing in? See, then now
Yeah.
you're getting people excited. You went from the hardship to a
Mhm.
wisdom point, how it happened, what you had to do to listen. We don't have to be in that hardship. You don't have to wait till your last check to make things happen. And there's the wisdom point that people are going to take and love.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So go from hardship to wisdom point. Is there more, or just go from the
Oh,
hardship and then go?
yeah. What you did is you started with what was leading to the wisdom point in regards to she yelled at you. Here's how the action came to, right? She
Yeah.
yelled at you and said, you should start your own business. And you could reframe it however you want in regards
Yeah.
to, she planted a seed in my mind. She made me
Yeah.
think, yeah, I am going to
No,
start my own business. Why?
she did.
Why? I just helped this company make a ton of money and you're mad at me? Like it doesn't make any sense, right? I'm gonna go make this money for myself instead of making the money for you when you're gonna sit here and yell at me, right?
Right.
But what did I do?
Yes.
I quit. I quit the next day and I found a brokerage, right? And then when you get to the brokerage part, you say at that point, right? Well, I think you said I had one check to live off of, and I was able to live on it for a few months. But I knew when that check was gone, I better have had some deals closed. So I worked my ass off. I made a decision, right? I made a decision, and I worked my ass off, right? And I sold this many houses in this many days, and
Mhm.
I didn't have to worry about it ever again.
Yeah.
So the wisdom point back in that was you made it a must, right? You made a decision
I
and
made it a must.
you made it a must.
I made it.
You had to do it. It was a must.
Yeah,
I had
I
to make
have to.
money or else I was done.
Yep. Very nice. Love it. Ha. Okay, Ileana, your turn.
Still, my,
So what we just did with Caroline is we went from topic to story. Okay, so you have your topics. What triggered you? What story makes you passionate about that topic?
way I feel when I have overweight on my body. And it's like depression gets the weight going up. And so um, I noticed that one day my daughter was sitting next to me and she just jiggled my tummy and she says, "Oh, mom, look, I can jiggle your tummy." And I go, "Oh my goodness." And I didn't even realize that I was that fat that my daughter can jiggle my tummy. So then that's when I was aware that I was gaining weight and I didn't know I was gaining weight.
That's the story.
So say that again.
That's the story. That's great. That's a great story.
Yeah. So then I became aware and I became aware of the kind of food that brings me back to jiggling the tummy.
Mhm.
And so from there on, I just ate. I I do eat good and exercise, and exercises give me. I mean, not give me, but I can be on a good state of mind,
Mhm.
and it doesn't let me go on depression.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
my medicine.
so we've got about 10 minutes here. So let's go into your story. We'll do exactly what we just did with Caroline because it's a good one. I'm glad we found it. So depending on your audience, and it's this example is you're talking about health, right? Physical and mental
Yes.
health, honestly, physical and mental, because
Yeah.
your physical health wasn't there, your mental health was suffering too, right? And sometimes that makes things even worse. So if you're
Yeah.
talking to people about physical and mental health, talking about how one thing can create a problem for another, right? And you've gotten into that. Now, as you're speaking, and we'll build the front half another time, but the story you're talking about with your child, the way you can start to present that is how many people here have kids or grandkids, right? Everybody's going to raise their hand. How many people agree that kids say things just without a filter? They're just going to say things, right? So I want to tell you about why I'm so passionate about health and fitness, right? Because health, physical health does affect mental health. But one day I was sitting there and my daughter came to me and I wasn't feeling well. I really didn't pay attention to why, but I know I didn't feel well mentally. And my daughter grabbed you said your stomach and grabbed my stomach and she jiggled it. She says, "Hey, you're jiggly." And you said, and you can go, it was eye-opening, right? She wasn't trying to be mean. She wasn't trying to do anything out of harm, but kids tell the truth. And when she told me that, it hit me. Holy crap, I'm out of shape. Oh my God. I don't feel good. I don't feel good about myself. I'm not in shape. I'm not mentally, I'm not physically in shape. And I need to do something about this. Boom. And then from there, you can go into like, what did you do to get back into shape? And this is again why you're passionate about what you're sharing right now. Okay. And then, like we talked about last time, we can tell stories even if they're not our own, right? So when you share that portion about you and what happened with you and your daughter, you can add to it and you can go because there's a video and you guys may have seen it, but there's a video that went viral because the wife is asking the husband. She says, "Babe, what would you do? Would you leave me if I got fat?" And in the background, the kid goes, "But mama, you are fat." And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's like a shot, right? And the kid's not trying to be mean. It's just a kid, and kids say what they mean. So it's a good way to learn things for ourselves, right? But that can tie into your talk. So as you put your talk together, you can share the story about you, right? Or you can share a story like I just gave you earlier, and then say, but guess what? That actually happened to me. That's a funny viral video that's gone around, but it actually happened to me. And here's what happened. And then you tell them about the story with you and your daughter.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I have to tell. Okay. I'm
So
gonna be
this
writing this.
specifically, right? This specifically is you're talking about health, mental and physical health, right? Plus you have real estate stuff, and that's a story that you're leading into. Then at that point, while you're telling your story, you're telling about everything that you do and how you can help them physically, right? Or you can help them mentally, and then that because you built the connection and they've laughed and they felt your pain, because maybe when your daughter told you that it hurt a little bit, even though she didn't mean it, it may have hurt a little bit. So if you talk about a little bit about that pain and that hurt that's real, if it happened, then they'll also connect to that on an emotional level. And if they can connect to that on an emotional level, that's when you have offers for them. And that's when they're going to want to be around you. They're going to want to work with you. And that's when they're going to want to refer people to you because you have this great story. All right. All
Right.
right. We've got about 5 minutes. I think we were able to accomplish some cool stuff here. Let's expand a little bit in the next couple of minutes. Any other questions or just the what we've built from topic to story? How can I continue to help with that?
Do you keep your story somewhere, or did you in the beginning, or are they all in your head now, or what?
Right now I have them all. The way I think that I got them myself was writing my books because my books are just full of my stories. So yeah, I did write them. And when I
Okay.
wrote my very first book, I mean, I wasn't planning on writing a book. I was just writing out my life, like journaling. So I
Uh-huh.
wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and then I took all those journals, I took all these stuff that I just had all over the place that I'd written. I kind of had this pile of papers, and I kind of just put it in order and wrote my book. So the answer is yes, I wrote down the stories, but I didn't write them for the purpose of speaking them. I wrote them
Mm.
because it was my processes of processing things. So there's nothing wrong with writing out those stories, like how we're talking about it. We're expanding your bullet points right now with these couple of stories that we talked about. So if you need to write them, right, for sure. And I'll send you this video like I did the last one. I'll post it into the group. And then you can go back and look at and listen to them if you need to. But there's nothing wrong with writing them. But because they're your personal story, in my view, and what I do is if I'm going to go speak, I know who the audience is. I'll write down
Mm.
3 or 4 bullet points of the stories I want to share. And then all I got to do is
Mm.
look at the bullet point and I already know the story because it's me. It happened
Got
to
it.
me, right? The other
Okay.
thing is like the one I just shared with you about that social media thing. I wasn't thinking about that. I don't have that written down anywhere, but because you shared your story about what happened to you with your daughter, I remembered it, right? So I was able to share that. So
Mm.
it's okay to be on the fly also when you just pay attention to things that are in your realm, what are in the things that you talk about that you're attracted to, right?
Mhm.
I mean, at some point, Caroline, you can share Ileana's story, and vice versa. You guys can share. Oh man, we were on this call one time, and she talked about people when they're 60 and they didn't have this or didn't have that. It ignited, it resonated with me, right? So share your own, share other people's, talk more, get out there more. I mean, you guys go to a lot of meetings. I know you do, and you probably hear a lot of stories. So don't be
Yeah.
afraid to share other people's stories too. I think I told you guys this last time. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I used to go to his events every single year, the same event over and over and over again because it was always so impactful. He shares a little bit of his stories and he shares everybody else's stories. He shares Sylvester Stallone stories. He shares Robin Williams stories. He is an expert at just sharing people's stories that have an impact. So,
Mm.
yeah.
I just thought about something. Be in your 60s, healthy and rich.
Ooh, there you go.
How?
Yeah. Yep.
How? We have the patches and we have the financial services. Let me show you how to do all this.
Okay. I like it.
Yep.
Well, it's like we're on our 60s, and our 60s we just our body just starts deteriorating, and so how can we just go on with a body that doesn't work well?
Mhm.
Here are the patches.
So you have 2 really cool topics there. Okay. And one is for a young audience who you say
Yes,
you want to be rich and healthy when you're 60, right? And then you have
yes.
the other topic is people who are already close to our age, 50s and 60s, to go,
Mhm.
if you aren't where you need to be or want to be yet, here's how you do it, even though you're already 60, even though you're already 50, whatever it is. And then you give them
When you're already 60, you still have the ability to be healthy,
Mhm.
and there is a way. Okay,
All right. Super cool. I like it.
good job, Carolyn.
Thanks. I love it.
Yeah,
So
good
when's
job.
our next meeting? I want to make sure I can get everybody prepared. I'm going to download the page that we're supposed to be writing down whatever we're supposed to be doing. That way we have no excuse for homework. And that way I can get people to participate that are going, oh, I missed it. Oh, I didn't know it was
Let's
happening.
let's
You know,
let's lock it in next meeting for the 17th.
For the 17th.
17th.
I'll put it in here.
Perfect. That's a Tuesday.
Yep.
Okay, Tuesday at 11:30.
Yes.
December 17th, Tuesday at 11:30.
I'm going to put it over here.
Raul Lopez coaching call. Duplicate. Tuesday, 17, 11:30.
You said the 17th?
Yes, Tuesday the 17th at 11:30. Perfect. Got it.
Okay, I'll put it in the group too, and then I'll download this call that we just had to unlist it into YouTube like I did the last one, and then I'll put it into the group, and you guys can look at it as need be.
Okay, and the homework people should be doing is the page about the store about writing your stories, right?
So what I did is in the WhatsApp group right now, I just bullet pointed what we just talked about. So we can ask them to do that. What is your
Okay.
goal in learning? What are 3 short stories? And then topic versus story. Make it a must type thing. And if what they can do is if they go, okay, well, I don't understand all of that in the bullet points, I'll just say here's in about 30 minutes, I'll load the YouTube to this here, the WhatsApp, and I'll say, hey, here's where you can follow along with what we did today.
Got it. Perfect. All right, there you go.
All right,
Let's get
ladies.
people
Thank you
engaged.
so much. Great call. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank
right.
you. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.